We are titling this Billy's Got a Gun. Now, just a
Can you
couple of,
see me?
yes,
All right.
just a couple of things before I get started. Number one, Bill's dreams obviously about guns. Bill did have a concern that YouTube may not let it be up because it's about guns, but we know in dreams nothing is what it seems. So we're going to give this a shot. The other thing is, since Bill takes care of all the lighting and all of that, and he is, if you can't tell, in his big rig. So where are you now? In Louisville,
I'm in
Kentucky?
Louisville, Kentucky.
So I'm on my own. So if this doesn't quite look as great as he makes it normally look, then we have an understanding of why that is.
And I
So
don't have any way to I don't have like a phone holder or anything in here. I do like on the dash of my truck, but I'm in the bunk because I was getting ready to go to bed. Um, got to get up early to pick up a load and head back up to New York.
so with that said, I'm going to let Bill read his dream.
Okay, so I actually cannot read it because if I go to read it, then I won't be on the phone anymore and on video.
I'll read it.
So, okay, go ahead.
I'm going to read the dream and then we'll go through it. Okay?
Yeah, I can tell you that this dream was a couple of weeks ago, and I really didn't think it was that significant. But Dawn was like, we're gonna use that dream because we need a dream for this week." So go ahead. Well, I can tell you this is what I remember of it. I was in a mall. It looked like the Pencan Mall when the Pencan Mall still existed. When we were kids. It's now, I think the Pencan Mall is now a car sales place, a Burdick um, Auto Mall or something like that. Anyways, we were in the mall. When it first started, I believe I was with Dawn, and there was a gang of shooters, basically. I don't know what they were, but they were shooting at people in the mall, and the mall was pretty full. And they came up to me and they forced me. They were like forcing me to pick up a gun and start shooting, and I didn't want to. And if I didn't pick up the gun, the shooter, the gang leader was going to shoot me. So I picked up the gun and I pretended like I was shooting at people. I was shooting, but I was shooting to miss people. Um, and then Dawn, I think you can read it from there.
Okay. All right, here I go.
Hmm.
Um, so you shot to miss people. He said that I needed to start shooting people or the gang was going to shoot me. I know you
Right.
said that part,
Yeah,
but
okay. So he basically said that I needed to start shooting people or he was going to shoot me. And so I started shooting, and that was actually right in the beginning when I was still at the mall. And then it switched to it looked similar to the cruise ship that we went on last year. It was a MSC cruise ship, and so they were still doing it, and I was like warning people that we were shooting at them, and I was, warning them to get out of the way and stuff, and still pretending like I was shooting at them. What does it say now on the writing?
um, hang on. I have to. Then we were by a pool similar to the pool on the back deck of our cruise ship.
Okay. So then we were by the pool, and I was still like pretending like I was shooting at people, and then there was law enforcement that was there, and they started to shoot at us, and so I jumped into the pool to get away from them and not get shot, and I was hiding under the water, and they had some sharpshooters there, and they were able to get us if we came up above the water. So I stayed under the water, and then I woke up. Does that sound like everything that I wrote down?
It is everything you wrote down. So, so let's go through this. We're going to go through this piece by piece
Hmm.
because obviously dreaming about a gun isn't necessarily about a gun. I mean, Bill, let me ask you, when you think of a gun, what would a gun represent in a dream?
Um, what would it represent? A weapon?
No, it is a weapon.
Okay. Power?
Yes. Yep. I was going to just do a charade of some kind. So that's awesome. So yeah, typically a gun in a dream represents power or a lack of it, depending on what side of the gun you're on. So let's start right off the top that this dream started in a mall. So malls are very interesting when you're dreaming about, being in a mall because there are so many stores in a mall. It is really a reflection of your need to really make choices or decisions, right? Because you can go down which hallway or what have you. So it's really about your current choices. And as I go through this, you're probably going to have some ideas about what this is about, and we'll talk about that. I'm not going to volunteer information,
Hmm.
but you can. So, so that's where we started out, is you're in a mall and you're being shot at. So let's talk about a gang. A gang in a dream. Um, you know, Obviously these are bad people. They're shooting. Um, so, but typically, and you need to let me know that all this resonates with you. This is really the first time Bill and I have gone over his dream. He shared it with me, but we've just gone over it.
And I usually have a lot of dreams, and I've had vivid dreams. I've had three dreams about winning the lottery, which is pretty wild. Especially the first two. After I woke up, I felt like a millionaire all day long. Um,
Okay, Bill,
yeah,
stay
I'm
on
getting
task here, Bill. Stay on task.
okay.
Thank you. So dreaming about being recruited by a gang is typically feeling a need to belong. It could be, you
I
know,
didn't want to belong to that gang.
I know it could be feeling like an outsider in your own life, feeling, kind of like you don't belong in your own life where you are. Okay. So be thoughtful about that. Um, because I have ideas. We'll talk about that. So this gang's shooting at you, and and then they started to try and recruit you. So what is being shot? And I'm just going through. These pieces are very, very specific. Um, so dreaming of being shot, often, obviously, feelings of being vulnerable, feelings of being powerless, under attack. I mean, this makes a lot of sense. It could be a significant threat in your life. It could be a physical threat. It could be an emotional threat. It could be, something personal, something job related. It could be anything, but it is nonetheless a threat, and you feel vulnerable. It can also mean unresolved conflict, which I think for you, it means unresolved conflict. Um, and I also think it is very strongly about you feeling vulnerable in a particular area in your life. So give that a thought. But this is your dream and not mine. So this gang now is trying to recruit you, and they make a threat to you. And so I'm going to read a little bit more.
Okay.
Can I ask, up to this point, you're in a mall, you have all these big decisions to make, you're not sure what you want to do. You're being shot at, which really symbolizes feeling vulnerable, um, feeling that there is a threat in some area of your life, unresolved conflict. That's where we're at right now. Does anything come to mind?
It seems like quite a bit of things actually. There's a few different things.
Okay. All right. And can I just throw out there, do you think one of them may be your, feelings about being stuck in a truck all the time?
Yeah, well, I think when I had the dream, I was actually planning on going to Kentucky, and or I was asked to go to Kentucky, and
Okay.
I think that uh, I whenever I go far because I don't know a lot about trucks. Like I'm not like a truck mechanic, um, and a lot of things can go wrong when you're far from home. You're kind of, you know, you're in the elements of the world. Right now I'm well 680 miles from home, and if something big did go wrong with the truck, um, that could be an issue. Also, not having a load to come home with means that you can be um, uh, stuck for a while looking for something to come home. Um, and when you're out here on the road, um, dealing with brokers and stuff like that, or I don't know, I'm trying to think of some other yeah, there's definitely some things with being out on the road that can make you nervous that, maybe you're not thinking about when you're during the day or I tend to think about everything and then overthink it and think the worst possibilities sometimes when I'm out here.
Well, you alone with your thoughts, so that I can understand that. So the stream is probably processing through some of that. And it sounds to me like it's processing through maybe some of your that anxiety about being on the road all the time and dealing with all of this stuff.
And
So,
it's not so much being on the road all the time. Like when I'm home, closer to home, I have friends that can help me with a lot of the things that I don't know about. Um, so there's that.
hmm?
Um, and if I did have to be towed somewhere or something like that, there's tow truck companies that are close by. I know there's, talking to my friend Dale, he was saying no matter where you go, there's always somebody that can help you. Um, and I guess just when I because I don't go far away often, um, that stuff, all runs through my head.
So meanwhile, this gang's trying to recruit you, and um, and they are forcing you to shoot people in the dream.
Okay.
So so that's where we're at in the dream. You're being forced to because the gang has and when I say that they're recruiting you, they're telling you you have to be part of the gang. You have no choice, okay? So once again, there's a feeling of powerlessness, right?
So that could be DOT too, because you're going out here on the road and you're always a criminal according to the DOT. They'll go through any part of your truck and try to find a reason to to put you out of service or whatever. So I try to take care of every single possible thing that I can think of. But I don't know everything about trucks. So I try to know as much as possible and I try to recruit as many experts as I can to look my truck over and make sure everything is good. But somebody that's out there trying to find a reason to give you a ticket or fine you or something like that is going to always be kind of like a wolf trying to take you down while you're trying to do your work. So that's another scary part of being out here because I don't know where all the DOT um, is and different places and they they can be lurking anywhere ready to take you out.
So dreaming about the gang and the gang forcing you to shoot people. All
Mhm.
right, that's where we are in the dream. Um,
And I
there's
have my Bluetooth in so I can hear you better. I usually have it all the time because it just makes it easier to communicate.
so um so there's a number of reasons and I want you to think because the DOT may not make sense when you consider um what could it mean being forced to shoot people. So typically, obviously, with that word power comes into play again. It means obviously extreme powerlessness, um, being pressured into doing something that goes against your will in your waking life, right? And it may be this trip that you weren't really thrilled about going on it, right? It could signify that or something where you felt pressured to do it.
I don't feel like I felt pressured to do it, but maybe in in the back of my mind where uh I don't like to do things that are not comfortable. Um so maybe just being out of my element and not being comfortable going that far, not with all the what ifs that go on in the back of your mind. Maybe that's the reason.
Well, and it may not have anything at all to do with trucking, but you need to really think about because there are other situations in your life. I mean, the other thing about being forced to shoot people or to engage in something like that, um, it really could be where you have internal conflict and that you're feeling like you need to act in some way that is goes against your values and beliefs. So that could be too. I mean, you're being forced to behave in a way that um, contradicts who you are, right? And that's exactly. I mean, much of the dream at this point is about you are not willing to comply with.
Oh, well, there's definitely like family members that we have disagreements with that I don't, I definitely will never. There's yeah, I'm not gonna go there.
Well, um, but so you understand it's probably not the DOT.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, do you, or do you think that's,
Yeah, well, DOT is always a concern no matter where you go when you're in trucking because they can affect your insurance rates. It's like a nonstop they're supposed to be for safety, but they're really out there um, writing people up for anything they can possibly find.
well, I want you to look at all of the possibilities. That's really what I'm saying. The DOT may be part of the stream. This may not be about trucking because we didn't really get a chance to discuss it, but you clearly have some understanding of things that this stream could represent at this point.
Yeah.
Easily. You have a little list going on in your head, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So back to let me pull up the dream.
Well, this is not entirely fair because I'm your husband and you probably have some ideas too.
I do. I do. And I couldn't do this necessarily with somebody else unless we really had that pre-meeting. So, but you're absolutely right. I do have some ideas, but it's your dream ultimately, and it needs to resonate with you. So that's what you need to, if you feel like you're being really forced into something that is, and you're having trouble making decisions and you have some internal conflict about the decisions that you have to make. You're feeling vulnerable, you're feeling powerless, and uh, and there's pressure, peer pressure, uh, all of these things that we're talking about. That could apply to a lot of things. So think about what is going on now, and you probably come up, two or three things that makes sense for. One of them may be trucking. So,
Hmm.
but I just want you to be thoughtful about that. Um, I know this, whichever you choose, and it has to be what you choose. You don't have to say it. It really needs to resonate. Like you need to be able to feel like absolutely that's what the dream was. So, Um,
I would probably think it would, just dealing with this load and really, I mean, it wasn't that significant of a dream to me like some of the other ones that I've had in my life. So, um, and it seems like usually when I do something, that out of the ordinary, that I have an extra measure of stress before it because, um, I want to be prepared in every possible way, and there's always the what ifs there, in this realm of business.
well, and other things too is that, any kind of shooting scenario really could be representing repressed anger. So, um, so the dream, I think this dream is very relevant because the whole dream, no matter where you go with it, to me, is showing you things that you need to deal with. That's what this dream is about. This is about things that you're not dealing with in your waking life. This is about stress and anxiety and power and decision making and big choices.
Well,
And
I have a lot of things in every area of my life that I don't deal with on a regular basis.
well, and so one of the things that you could do when you're not doing a Zoom meeting with your wife, when you're on the road, is start making a list of things because this is an aggressive dream. I mean, these are things that are um, that is really creating some internal conflict. Whatever it is, it may not be anything I'm thinking about, but I really want to, let you know this is the kind of dream that you do want to take a good look at. That's why. So it wasn't that I didn't have a dream. I could have had a dream. Um, we could have heard about my Fozzie Bear dream, you know, but this is actually a very relevant dream. And I think a lot of people, probably more men than women, but this is not an uncommon dream for somebody to have in your situation. So, all right, I'm reading more. Okay. So you were shooting and missing people on purpose, but then the boss guy said he figured out that you were missing people on purpose, and he said that the gang would start shooting you if you didn't start shooting people. Um, Once again, there's that powerlessness. There's that even when you're trying to do the right thing, you're called out and you're once again powerless and back in the same situation. So then we are on a cruise ship. So the cruise ship is interesting because the cruise ship obviously was a very favorable experience for us. It was very,
Yeah, definitely one of the best vacations ever.
and it was relaxing. It was
Mhm.
enjoyable. There was not the only stress that you may have had is what to eat out at the buffet, right? That would probably
Oh
be your
yeah.
stress. Okay. So, why a cruise ship? Well, consider that, you know, water often represents our emotions in a dream. Now, sometimes in spiritual dreams, water can be the Holy Spirit or, things like that. But for by and large, water represents emotionality. So here you are in a confined space that's not that different from the mall if you think about it, right? A lot of choices, a lot of decisions, and you're riding this wave of your emotions. And you're confined. You cannot get away. You are in this vast ocean of your emotions. And, especially if you sometimes are stuffing things or not dealing
I
with
am a
things.
I'm a normal natural stuffer. I stuff everything.
So,
Definitely.
so then this would make some kind of sense that here you are in this confined space with conflict and decisions and all of that. and you're on, and your emotions are all around you, just all around you, which is really funny because one of the things that happened is you were started to pretend to shoot people again because you had to comply with the gang.
Comply or be shot. Yeah.
That's well, but and this is really, I think, a peer pressure. This is where that conflict, that internal conflict, that peer pressure, all of that stuff kind of comes into play. Um, so, here, meanwhile, you're surrounded by this ocean of emotion. What is the ocean's unpredictable? It's vast. It could be very deadly. It could, a lot of waves and all of that. So, navigation may be an issue. And there's a lot of navigation clues in this whole thing, right? Starting right with the mall and the decisions and, which way to go, what direction to go in. So there's a lot of that in the stream. Um, so if you consider, that you're, that's where you are right now, um, and you're shooting, and then law enforcement shows up. So, in a way, there should be somebody there to keep you safe, but you're on the wrong side of the tracks because of the choices that you had to make. And so you go hide in a pool. Well, if water is the emotions, then this is you in a way, kind of just delving right into your emotional being, that unstuffing things, taking a good look. It's time. That I feel like the dream is kind of like telling you it is really time to do an examination of the aspects of your life represented in this dream. And so because right now you're hiding in a pool in the ocean, if you think about it, in the dream. So I think that could be what could that represent really? Well, a stress, emotional stress, which I think you find yourself in that place quite a bit, being overwhelmed. I mean, have you ever been overwhelmed, Bill?
Yes.
Um,
What was that?
my little heart, see, my little heart.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I think
Well,
it
I
could,
would say that could also be like the the load that I just did, which actually went really well. I didn't have any issues. And then uh I was asked to join two bands and another band all at once and learning a bunch of songs um all at once, which especially if I don't get songs ahead of time. That is very stressful because I need some time to prepare and I want to play the best that I possibly can when I'm playing the drums. So that mixed with the trucking could be, part of the gang.
and it could be just like this perfect storm of all this overwhelming stuff happening in a very small amount of
All at
time.
once. Yeah.
Yep. And so being underwater, hiding, could be really deep emotions that you're not contending with, um, or it could be feeling out of control. And so this dream probably came at that time when all of that, like you had this big load to take, you're trying to navigate all the, you know, drumming opportunities and band stuff. It could be the things about the family members. It could be actually where all of that kind of converged and it was just a lot to handle. And you're sitting in a truck most of the time, just ruminating and thinking about all of this stuff. I just want to say thank you, everybody, and thank you, Bill, for sharing the stream. I think it was very a good dream to share, and it's different, and everything that's different can actually help somebody to understand their own dreams. But in the meantime, since we really didn't get a chance to clearly identify what the problem was, it's something. Just know that you can use all of this to maybe have an understanding of how you are feeling about things, how you're dealing with things, what conflict is going on. Really take a look at the stresses and maybe, you know, get to a really good place as a result of the stream. So with that said, oh, thank you. Um, we will end today's episode and keep dreaming, everybody, and send me those dreams.
Hey, and just so you know, I do have a lot more dreams
He
that
does.
I've got. Yeah, I've got some that I don't know. I don't even know if you've tried to analyze them.
Some of them. Some of them I'm like, nah. But www.daun.com, there is a link for Dreams Unveiled, and feel free to fill out the PDF fillable form and email it to me if you would love to be featured on the show and have us take a look at your dream.
Oh yeah, and like and subscribe. Oh yeah, I have one other thing that about dreams in general because I have this quite a bit. I can fly in my dreams and I can teach other people how to fly and I can land and I can go where I want. And it used to be when I was younger, I couldn't do that. I could only fly and then I didn't know how I would land or I would landing would be a painful thing. So what does that mean? Because I'm sure a lot of people fly in their dreams.
Um, it could mean that you seek freedom. I would say is probably the most, it can mean growth, it could mean forward mobility, liberation, independence, any of those things. So, how you would actually use that in a particular dream is you'd have to really think about what is going on in the waking hours surrounding that dream to know, to have more specific information.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Have a great night, everyone. Dream big and send them to me. And like and subscribe the YouTube. Why are you laughing, Bill?
I'm not. I'm just smiling.
You're laughing. Good night.
Good night,
No, no,
everybody.
no. We're not good nighting. Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.